Okay, so fractional product management. Paul is basically like, for those of you guys that are joining us, we're doing this every single week. But Paula, why don't you go ahead and you sent over a gang of questions. Uh, yeah, you totally did.
I'm sure I did. I just forgot. Yes, you're right. I'm pretty sure I did because I'm currently hunting my next few clients for it.
Okay.
Um,
Okay.
but for those who don't know, I so my background is product management, and I've decided to have my own product management consultancy. So kind of like consultancy, freelance, for product management starting this year. And I've it's taken me 3 months to figure out the niche I wanted to actually work with or the industry I wanted to work with, which is why I've been like back and forth. But um, I realized that, well, first off, startups, scale ups, companies, most of them stretch thin. They don't also have the budget for a full-time employee. And they take on too many hats, which is most of their problem. And so fractional product management is to just help these founders, these product managers who are overloaded and stretched thin to either, if they need to start focusing on investors, I could help them analyze their competitors or their users or talk interviewing their users, because most of the time that's actually something that they neglect. And another one would be, if they are a product manager, but they're being forced to be a product owner, I could step in and I could be a product owner for them just for like a few and optimize that system or that process for them just for a few weeks or months, whenever they need it. So that type of role I can help with in terms of flexibility. But one thing is that I was talking to a bunch. I've tried to kind of just connect with a few people, and for those who finally said yes to me, um, I asked them, "So, are you overworked?" I asked them what they're doing. Most of them are founders, and they are overworked, and but they never really, uh, they never really, what do you call this? Talk about it, or they never create a job board out of it. So these problems exist, but these are those hidden jobs or hidden things that you need to almost take from people. Uh, and actually, the good thing about this founder talked to me mainly because they found one of my videos too, and my video kind of connected with them, so it kind of helped that way. But so my questions, I think, with you was just like, well, I'm really weak at business development. I'm really weak at trying to figure out how to build these relationships and network or like do anything that create this. Most people don't know they have these problems, but they can't articulate it. So it's just like, how do I tell them, hey, this is the problem, and then I'm the solution. Um,
Got
so
it.
yeah.
Okay, so you're trying to figure out what's like their clear problem, and then like at the same time trying to figure out how to monetize off of that, like your expertise in actually dealing with these people, right?
Yeah, I'm trying to monetize. I'm trying to find optimize a way to talk network with these people and find these hidden opportunities really. Like how
Got
do
it.
you even create that?
Got it. Got it. I don't know, John, you feel like you have similar challenges, or I know you do a little bit of fractional work too.
Yeah, I found my first big fractional product manager client on Upwork. They wanted a growth product manager, somebody to help them take them from like 20,000 MRR to like 100K MRR and exit. And I have startup experience. I've been a part of an exit process. So I basically sold them on that. And the way that I actually, because it's super competitive. She put the job out there. Oh, it's a she. No, it's a she. She put the job out there on Upwork, and of course, like 100+ people applied. And she chose me because I sent a Loom video. It's just like a 1 minute Loom video, just being like, "Hey, I read your ad. I love it. These are your problems. This is what I can contribute right off the top of the. I was like top of my mind. Like let's have a chat. The team doesn't fit, and it worked. She was like, we went on the call, and she was like, "Oh, I love that you sent me that video. It's very personalized, blah blah blah." And I was like, "Nice, the video. That's what did it." The personalized video works. So honestly, like I tried the same thing as you, Paula. I tried reaching out to people on LinkedIn, and they just weren't about it. So
Mm.
that's why I switched to Upwork. And I mean, it's competitive, but
Yeah.
very competitive. But I mean, it's worked. Yeah, and I have another client as well, also doing this for. So I got two.
And
Yeah,
you all got that from Upwork?
One I know the guy, and the other one is yeah, Upwork.
it makes me very happy to hear that you find Upwork relevant because I'm holding on to a lot of Upwork shares and they're not doing very well. Those COVID shit, because like during COVID, like it just shot up through the roof.
Dude,
And
Upwork is expensive, man. Like you get like 43 credits a month, which is enough for like applying for two jobs. That's it per month. And then you have to pay. And it's not cheap. So I think I spent like maybe like 20 or $30 on applications until I got this. But I mean, hey, it gets you a job, right? Connects you with the people that want you. But guess what else I could say about this is being a fractional product manager, especially for startups, is challenging because like you're used to working. Like I too am a product manager from the corporate world slash startup world as well, and I'm used to being in structured teams, structured organizations. We're all full time and we're all available between like certain hours of the day, right? Whereas like really small fractional teams, it's like you're dealing with dev shop in India, or you're dealing with somebody in Europe, and they're only doing like 1 or 2 hours per day if they're even working that day. So things just don't move that fast as I like it. But hey, that's how it goes.
okay,
Yeah, it's
yeah,
still me. I actually don't mind that. That's-
yeah, okay. So here's what I've basically seen that's worked from the PG crew of people that have the PG crew of people that have like basically made like a full switch over to fractional product management. There's a few ways to go ahead and do it, but I think like rather than people doing like one-off calls with them, with the amount of data that I just have of like who had the highest track record of surviving the Hunger Games, I'll tell you what like Upwork by far, bar none, is probably the or a platform like Upwork is probably the best place to get started because you need like I think of everything in terms of sales, so you have to have somebody that's ready, willing, and able to transact with you. And there isn't a higher there isn't a clear indication of ready, willing, and able than I'm posting up this fractional PM role, right? When you're hitting up somebody like out of random on LinkedIn, like if you're on a dating app, you're shy of you forgetting to take your profile off. You are ready, willing, and able to transact, right? So Upwork is great. There's like a few other freelancer platforms. Like TopTool is like another one. They have like a stronger like vetting process, but freelancer websites are really, really good. I don't know if Upwork is necessarily kudos to John here to that's cracked it. I don't know if Upwork is actually the best platform now, just because I think like with their revenue model, which I think really murdered them, is they force the people to go ahead that's working to buy connects, which I think is probably the dumbest idea ever. And they would have done that if they needed revenue or a cash injection, just because the people that come in on Upwork, because they have no reviews, they're the ones that are going to be the most. Before they didn't charge a connect on it. They would come in hungrier and like, I'm just gonna go out there and message as many people as possible. I'm willing to do work at a discount. But if you're gonna charge those people to go ahead and play, then the only people that can afford to play are the people that can afford to pay. So that's the people that are already established, right? So that new, fresh generation of people that want to get on Upwork, they're not there. Now, the people that's already made money on Upwork, they're a little bit less hungrier to go out there and actually provide better service because they already have all the reviews. Their search engine optimized to be at the top when they're looking for like, I'm looking for a roadmap person, or I'm looking for a graphics designer, I'm looking for a video editor. They're already positioned to the top. So they already have their client roster both on the platform and off the platform. They're less inclined versus somebody that's just like, okay, I'm finally going to get on Upwork right now. So I would go out there and first encourage you guys to look up 4 or 5 other places. Fiverr is also like somewhat cool, but Fiverr doesn't give you any option to go out there and have direct contact with a client. So you are hoping to optimize yourself. And I can tell you this, like, if I'm opening up a pizza shop with any one of you guys, I can't bet on foot traffic to pay the rent. Like, I want to go out there and actually attack the customer. Like, even let me just go on Times Square and wave at people or dance in front of people. I want to go out there and try to grab people, right? So, you guys can go, obviously. Route number one is look up freelancer websites, and there's another one called freelancer.com. But there's tons of these global freelancer websites where people are actually looking for shit to get done. The second thing that I've always recommended for people to do, because people are very visual, like if you send out like a written text, 100%. I've had tons of people that we've converted over to full time that work at PG, where we'll throw up an ad out there. As a business owner, it's easier. It's easier for me to go ahead and watch a video than it's going to be for me to go and read like a cover letter that you're sending over. Especially like if you're able to say like, hey, I know a problem that you guys are trying to solve. I've solved this problem for 4 other career coaches before. This is career coach one. He was focusing on making a transition for chiropractors. I know how to grow YouTube channels for people for career transition coaches, right? All right, so you definitely want to do the loom. Taking it to the next level above that is I think for both of you, you guys need to start. Like I think Paula, you already started. Start up some kind of social media presence, like a TikTok, Instagram, or like YouTube, where you're actually talking about solving that problem. For the people that I noticed that's gotten a lot of good response for fractional product management, they create a lot of content on how to choose a good fractional product manager. Because this is somebody that's trying to get education to solve a problem. So, what is fractional product management? How to find a good fractional product manager. Other things that they test out for keywords is like, John, you talked about 20,000 MMR to like 100,000 MR, right? How to find a revenue driven fractional product manager. I threw out like how to find a 10x revenue product remote product manager, and that thing did like 2,000 views in like 2 days, right? Obviously, because if you're looking at it from a business owner, like who doesn't want a 10x revenue driven remote fractional product manager, right? So creating a lot of that content, um, most business owners are going to be focused on some sort of either revenue of massively making money or saving money. So if you're talking about 20,000 MRR to like 100,000 MRR, it's not a tough sell because I feel like I'm buying you at a discount. Like I'm spending $1 here to get $3 back. That just makes business sense for me. So that's a very clear outcome versus I would say that one of the biggest mistakes with other people that are trying to break into fractional product management is, like, oh yeah, you don't have to work all the time. Well, if I had more money coming in, I mean, I could. Like, I would love to work 4 hours a day, but half the time I don't know what I'm working on. So when you have like very undefined outcomes, like I help, startup founders get clarity. Like I don't need clarity, I need rev. I need cash, you know? So most product managers that try to break into fractional, where I see like they kind of die, is they're talking about like, I'm gonna help you de-stress. Like, no, you're just amplifying my freaking anxiety level because I feel like I'm going out of business and then I'm gonna have to go out there and call that Asian guy that's making 80 YouTube videos a day, and then I need to get a product manager job, right? Which is something that I'm not trying to do. So making videos where data has also been very, very, very like a powerful driver for product. It's like I can tell you one of the videos. I'm forgetting this person's name, but they made a video where they're just like, you don't need to do anything new. You just need to get better at what it is that you're doing right now. You already are driving revenue. So it's about identifying the sources of where your revenue and your traffic is coming from and figuring out how to scale that. And that's all it really is. Right? So when there's like, okay, anything that's gonna like you want videos out there and you can pump out more shorts than you can long form. Like I only do shorts now. Anything that you can pump out where it's just like anything where you can basically go out there and pump out where it's just like holy shit, yes, this is what I need. Get it. Now, if you're talking about long term, what I've noticed, like people that has done fractional product management up to year 3 and year 4, because I started telling people to get into it during COVID, and we've been at Product Gym here for like 8 years. Where I see people end up year 3 and year 4 in their journey is um amazingly enough, it's actually not YouTube, like building a YouTube or like a social media personality. It's staffing. So it's actually staffing. So it's like, I'll give you guys some examples, right? A lot of times, what people, because you're working with people that can't afford you guys on a full-time basis, and that's going to force you to work with other people that they also can't afford on a full-time basis. One of the core problems across the board is a lot of those people suck. So what they end up doing is asking you, well, who else do you know that's like a video editor? Like, okay, so our like thumbnails person sucked. Like, do you know somebody? So, like, yeah, I know this person, I know this person, I know this person, I know this person. What those people end up almost always doing to build up, because you don't want to keep working forever, is building up some kind of referral network where you basically take a little bit off the top. And then you go ahead and you get it going like a recurring. The level is they basically, and I think Paola and John too, you can also go out there and do this, as like having like some kind of base of operations where it's just like you have like literally it's like an office somewhere, I think pre-invasion Ukraine's like a good example where it's just like, because like no, seriously, it's cheap. It's like, okay, it's a cheap place that the startup founder would like to go to, right? Because you have this like fantasy. Ideally, every business owner, I'll tell you guys this too, and it's also what kind of the reason why I'm in Korea is like you're gonna have like that vibe where it's like that dude from Succession, like I need to know where everybody is at all times and what everybody's doing right now. And that's why we need everybody underneath one roof, right? So that's hot. So like if I have an excuse to go to Thailand or I have an excuse to go to like, Manila, I have a huge team, Manila. I have a huge team. Like I could literally go and wage war from Manila. Like I have an army there. And I did not realize how big that team was until they all picked me up from the airport. I was like, holy shit. Like this is
What, you
like,
thought it was just like 2 or 3 of them, but it's actually like 20 or 30 of them.
well, what ends up happening is like a lot of
They
places they end up hiring family members, right? Or they actually end up hiring former coworkers. So I don't care if
or
it's like,
they like you hire 1 or 2 people and then but you don't know you're hiring an agency of
yeah,
them. And
yeah,
they're just like
yeah,
separate
yeah,
recruiting out.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
Even
yeah.
cheaper. And then they're just, taking a cut off the top
This
basically.
is how you realize that, like, oh shit, like, So why is Daniel like so responsive 24 hours a day, no matter if I'm in my, friend's wedding at like on the Amalfi Coast? It's like, oh shit, like when do you sleep, man? It's like, yeah, it's actually him and his like four brothers that are on rotation. Like Manila, Buenos Aires is a cool one. A lot of people out there in Colombia, Mexico City is like another one. There's no
I just
shortage of.
I just heard that South Africa is a big one now. Like a lot of US offshore companies are specifically hiring from South Africa mainly for like accountants, like salespeople, because they're killers down there. Like they speak English and they just don't take no for an answer. And they're good at numbers. So
Work with
apparently they're the
people from
best for
South
sales.
Africa.
Yeah,
So
they're the best for sales
they really
apparently.
are. They're good with it, but the problem with South Africa is they lose electricity like once a month or once every 2 weeks or something. So they would tell me, okay, well, I can't meet with you every Thursday because we don't have electricity. So that's the only
That's
thing I've
they're
done.
not they're not good. They're not good. The best ones they have an office where they have backup generators,
Mm.
solar panels or whatever. Yeah, because I've talked to these people too, and they're like yeah, those are the low quality ones. The high quality ones, they got the generators.
Nah, fam. But like, yeah, like they have like these and you know what what I've seen um and like what I've seen now basically makes you indispensable because like at the end of the day, you guys want to get the most time leverage possible, right? There is going to be a cap. Like if you're talking about doing like when you're going into fractional product management for like year one, it's like you're getting like one or two clients here, and it's like, yeah, I could be my own boss, you know? Like, and then you're talking about like year two, year three, year four. I'm always going to be the bigger proponent of like YouTube, but a lot of people unfortunately just don't want to do it. And I just believe like if you genuinely don't want to do something, then like you're just gonna dread doing it, and eventually like the people that want to do it, they will. Like I didn't start my own real personal brand until year 8 of my journey, and then now it's just like I'm like, as you guys can see, I'm like freaking aggressively like in it. So people get in it whenever they get in it. I don't think any time is too late, but staffing is
Don't get
yeah, eventual. Yeah,
I
questions.
mean, don't get me wrong. I'm more than happy to continue the YouTube and continue the Substack and newsletter route and other kind of like digitization and stuff. I just find that fractional product management would actually help me figure
Yeah,
out what's right, what to talk about. And it's kind of I'm kind of building it as a sort of cycle or like circular movement whereby I can eventually get this thing bigger. Like I don't think Chloe necessarily, but like something like that. But being having more experience with fractional management, networking from that perspective allows you to what you're talking about. You talk about from experience or from people that you talk to, and that's also the content that you kind of use from your YouTube channel and from here.
100%. I'm one of those people where it's like I get more ideas from like the people that I talk to. So like no matter how busy I am, I always make it to this call because like just like that one like I'm definitely gonna check out that like that digital nomad thing that you talked about or it's
Yeah, there's
like
3 or 4.
right.
I'm telling you, I think you'd love it because I'm
Yeah.
I met a lot of really good friends who are coming to Vancouver, and I've met. I did a birthday in Italy, and they all came there as well, and like it's just it,
Yeah.
you know,
Yeah. That's what I missed about like New York until New York got like I think decimated and I just like it kind of lost that like energy but like that like these calls are valuable for me too like what John just said about like South Africa I just made a little sticky note because it makes sense and like for most Americans here they would just feel like that's a British accent right or like some part of the UK because like you go to Liverpool and it it doesn't sound like it like when you're watching a movie, but when you're physically traveling, like You go to like Birmingham to like Manchester, and you get off the station is like it's
Totally
like then it
different.
hits you like, yo, this is like a different language you're speaking.
Yeah. Yeah, yeah, yeah. Oh.
Yeah. So like yeah. So I would say like the eventual thing where I've just noticed people they get out of it is like year 4, year 5, they're just like completely um they're just making about like at least like 15 to $20,000 just recurring. And like I think that's like the biggest power move because now companies effectively can't operate without this individual because like your whole team is controlled by like a John and Paola, right? So I just turn off the light switch on you and you got bigger problems because like you don't know how to access your Airtable. You don't know how to you don't have the password to like your CRM. So they come in there, they completely replace like the infrastructure, like the human infrastructure there. They have all the logins, they have all the passwords. They pretty much control the entire schedule. All the social media accounts, like I think the next best thing to getting equity right now is owning like the companies like owning the company's IG, owning the company's TikTok, owning the company's YouTube, because those are the three platforms that business is transacting right now. Is like I would say it's probably more important. Probably like Airtable is like by far bar none. Airtable is like the new version of Excel. It went from like Excel to like Google Sheet. Notion, I think, completely took over documentation. Canva is pretty much taking like it's now like the go-to for slides, right? Of course, ChatGPT you got to know, but that's just like productivity wise, you have to know those platforms. But if you're talking about like sales and marketing, it's all going to transact on like YouTube, TikTok, and like basically IG.
LinkedIn,
Yeah.
yeah, other socials.
LinkedIn, I think what like 100 did. That's totally, you're right. That's another big one because LinkedIn for years has, you know, the culture has been we don't want to be like another social media platform, and they're seeing how much money is being printed with IG and TikTok. And then now you're seeing like LinkedIn every single day is feeling more like they're like, no, that's the wrong way to go about it. People are more interested in like she said yes. I said yes. Like people are more interested. I got more engagement off of like my Coldplay videos when they came to Korea than like yeah, because like that's the other thing too, right? Like you guys ever see those videos where it's just like this like these crazy rich people? Like in New York, they have like that French guy, the European kid, or like
Yes,
they
the
have that
guy who's
one
just like, oh, my father would hear about this or would
like,
talk.
you know what
I've
my
heard
father
about.
is? It's like
Yeah.
I know the Arno family. Like, yeah, yeah, yeah.
There's a Taiwan that even G Dragon and Taeyang they emulated, and she would always be like, "Thank you, Kiteki," and she's like this retail owner of all biggest
Uh,
like luxury reseller or something
yeah.
in Asia.
Pe- people are looking for like escapism. So I think that's all the other reason for like the exotic destination is what I've noticed with people that have done very well selling consulting is you've done nothing wrong. You are taking all the risk. Everybody is like, it's everybody else's fault but you. You are the best person ever. And you want to know why you're not flexing to your friends about like being a startup founder is because your team is too expensive. That's not a difficult one to sell because like your team is too expensive. They refuse to meet you in the office and they're just not doing enough. And you end up paying people to do work that you end up doing anyways. You're gonna go ahead and get all these startup founders like, yeah, this guy John gets me. He's right. I work hard and I pay people on time, and nobody's giving me what I want. It's like, but meanwhile, bro, you could be out here right now chilling in Buenos Aires, throwing a few like little B-roll in there at the club. There's nothing that gets startup founders more amped up than going to some exotic destination and starting a new romantic relationship. So the more you can go out there and white lotus that, like I notice all of them do it. It's like they don't even put their
It's
face
for
on
the
it.
culture. It's for the culture.
Rude. It's part of the experience. Are you
Part of the
even doing a
experience.
digital nomad life if you haven't done that?
I mean,
Yeah.
yeah, dude, like when I post up videos of me at like when I post up videos of me at some like freaking nightclub in Seoul, and I'm like telling people like this could be you. And they're like, you know what? You know? Like, yeah, that's why like no matter how much people hate Andrew Tate, he's crushing it. Cause it's just like, yo, you tired of finding like not being able to find a nice girl? Come to Romania. And you're gonna have guys freaking egg.
Doing good.
He's
It's
right.
up
I'm
to your
living my life
personality.
right. He's like, Mom, I need to borrow $700 for a one-way flight to Romania. But 100%, like people ain't trying to work harder, like that stuff, that flex. We're about to do a video like a few weeks from now when the winds are a little lower here, and I'm very concerned about that. I'll just be in a helicopter where it's just like I think it'll be the best $14 spent. Like, yo, uh, you could be out here right now with your fully remote team, and they respect you out here. Everybody here will be bowing down to you. It's like, yeah, should have that. It's like, what do you mean calling me? Hey, Dan, boss. I pay you, don't I? Yeah, people love that shit. People always like selling any type of escapism. I think like that's the point that I'm trying to drive home. And I think John kind of hit it on the nail a little bit is like, I think if you're just going to tackle like problems that don't have the money making outcome, like if you're just talking about selling mental health, that shit doesn't get very far. Unfortunately, it's very difficult to deliver revenue when there's a lot of variables for revenue, not just I'm just saying like your own personal efforts. You got to understand that's a team thing, right? So, like, you were working in Canada and you may have, I don't know, you may have been working in an in-person team and people are all very good at what they're doing. What I find out is like, in order to drive revenue when I'm actually like consulting another boot camp, is, and I've handed out like James took over like a fractional client for me where like he wanted to get into fractional game and I was trying to get out of this like working with this boot camp. And they love the fact that like he's like okay PM and they love the fact that like he understood boot camps because he was one of the original guys that came out of my boot camp. It's really hard to drive revenue for fractional clients sometimes because like the team sucks. So it's like yeah I could do it, but in order to get your kitchen functional where you can actually ship out orders of food at scale, even from a food truck, I'm gonna need to replace this person, this person, this person, this person, this person, and your CRM is all fucked up. And I have
Bro,
to
that's if
attack
they
those.
even have a CRM.
That's if they even do, right? So yeah, do you find out like they're selling it off of like they think they're in a restaurant when it's like, nah, bro, you are selling tacos right now off the street. And I have to get the infrastructure set up. That's actually what takes up the most time for the fractional, and you're not really getting paid your rate on it is learning their industry up front. Those are hours that are going to be outside of paid hours, right? And like just communicating with people. But once you actually get everything tip top, like it can get there. Easier for
Dude,
getting to
you're
start hitting.
spot on. I just want to jump in and say, like I'm basically switching all the infrastructure with my big client right now, switching them from OmniSend to SendGrid because they have like 100,000 customers on the list. All right, we got to sit you to SendGrid where we can send out like a minimum 500,000 emails per month and actually start signing up those people, that'll drive revenue. And then we got to switch the analytics platform because it sucks and it wasn't configured correctly. And then I tried switching out the dev team as well. That was almost convinced her to switch the dev team because it's India based and not our EST time zone. But basically it's a no. But I was able to get them the cost down by $5,000 by talking to a lot of other dev teams. So yeah, also going to outsource the marketing as well. We have one marketing person, no idea what she's doing, but she's been a part of the business for a long time, and so she's not going anywhere. But we're gonna hire some people basically and pay them, based on revenue. So I'm working on that as well. So basically, just switching everything.
It's hard because like the other side of the problem is they make a lot of like impulse buys. So like you'll have they're up late at night, right? And they have like global teams too. So it's just like I'm feeling really stressed out. I don't know if my founder journey is about to be over. So like, okay, you could talk to me at 1:30 in the morning because you're based like wherever it is on God's green earth, right? And it's just like they're doing a really good therapy call. Some of the, and this is why I'm so convinced you don't have to be good at your job. Some of the highest paid fractional folks that I've met are so bad at their job because I got to replace them. But they're so good at the therapy piece that they're like, yes, Paula, you under, yes, okay. And then they start looking at you like that freaking WeWork founder like worships his wife, right? Is like, yes, they don't care about me. you know like and yeah, they end up hiring these people and it's just like, okay, bro, this guy or this girl's got to go. Is like, you don't understand, like we have like a really long, and it's they're literally paying them for that emotional support, and that those are like those big blockers of like, okay, so that person can stay, but we just need to bring this other person that can actually do the job. But just understand, you're not really paying this person to do that. Like their job is not marketing analytics. They are your life coach. So
Side note, that was that's not my entire role, but on top of actually doing my job, was the emotional therapist for these founders, for these engineers. Do you know how many people would go through me because they were so scared they were gonna lose their jobs? Like the CTO, the C-level suite, the investors, all emotional dump on me. It was actually harder to hear them than actually just do the job. It was a lot easier to just do the job than having to deal with people being bad all the time and stressed out.
well, when you're taking a look at that bank account dwindle, that
The bank account was nice. I was saving and investing 60% a month, so it's great.
yeah,
But
yeah, yeah,
it's
yeah, yeah. I'm talking about the owner of the business. When you're
oh yeah.
when you feel like you're underneath like a Russia Ukraine level conflict every single day, like yeah, you're gonna get you're gonna get some blood pressure hikes. So I would say like the thorough takeaways from this is going to be the following from the people that I've seen that I know in my own inner circle that has done well in this is like you're not really selling don't sell the process, don't sell the result. You want to sell the dream outcome, and what these people at the end of the day need is just that like you basically just find out that you're on a team of like 8 9 life coaches for this person, right? And it's not really your job to stay there for the long haul. Like your job is to go out there and print because they're gonna meet. I had this one dude that was just basically like 8 minutes into the call, I wasn't even sure if he was for real. Rich, you get it, send me the stripe, like yeah, but he was like and it was for like a data science camp, right? And I was thinking to myself like, oh shit, this got tons of potential because like I'm not in the data science racket. And but like that guy was a maniac. Like he was just changing his mind every single day. So that's when I realized like you cannot like get ready to deal with a lot of people with multiple multiple bipolar disorders, you know. So, dude, what are you talking? Like, it got to the point. This was one of my first guys ever. Oh, it was a great check. I was clearing like about 9,500 a month, right? And I was like, okay, this is what I'm doing. This is what I'm not doing. I still got my own business, blah, 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 blah. But it got to the point where I started having to record all the calls, and I was literally like, yo, you said that. He was like, no, I didn't. He's like, yeah, he did. It's like, you want me to replay it for you? It's like, okay, I did, but you know, we got to go in different directions. So I realized like you're there to go out there and just grab cash for a very short amount of time. And a lot of times it's not because of the business model or the product or the service that's going to fail. It's the founder, and they are putting up a front to you. Like, it almost, fractional product management almost feels like, you know, you're a high-end escort sometimes, because like they put up a front to you where it's just like all this shit's going right when all this shit's going wrong, and then eventually they'll go out there and have their breakdown, their Oprah moment. You know, so sell the dream outcome. The other thing here is the best way to guarantee that this contract, because at the end of the day, you guys want some degree of stable, recurring, consistent income that is at low leverage to your time and to your effort, is like is start replacing people, but charging like they gotta basically pay you to basically pay them. Right. Yeah, 100%. And you're basically building up your own little mini agency, right? Why not? Because like you might just have you it's like, yeah, just I'll take care of it on my end. You just go out there and send me the payment here. Because I just need this person, this person, this person. And we can talk about that more next week about how that arrangement works out. But basically, now you're like a little mini payroll center where it's just like they got to go through you to get this guy. They got to go through you to get this person. So just like when I went to like Manila, I was like, oh shit, I thought it was like this dude, but he also had like his dad that was like working. And because I talked to the dad, I ended up taking everybody out for like dinner, and I had no idea. Like the dad knew so much about me. He's like, you know, I really enjoyed that video where you're talking about. And I was like, are you just a fan? He's like, no, I've been the one editing it, because like they all live in digital, like I would say virtual assistants know other virtual assistants, right? So even if it's like their spouse, I had this one lady, she was, her husband didn't know anything about it, but she trained him up on how to go ahead and do like scraping. So like scraping names for us to go out there and message on LinkedIn. And generally speaking, because I think like the economic situation is so bad in these places, they learn quickly, because it's either that or working, you know, for lack of a better way of saying it, you're working at the fish market. So it's like, yeah, like you just need me to copy and paste onto this spreadsheet, like I got you. So get to that point. And then lastly, like everybody that I know, everybody that I know that started building their personal brand, like they all regretted it not starting sooner. So, John, the fact that you're like in a cool place like Guadalajara, um, you know, you should absolutely be flexing. Nobody, I don't give a shit who the fuck they are. Not even Tim Ferriss is working 4 hours a week, all right? Tim Ferriss, if he was working 4 hours a week, he wouldn't have lost all his hair. Okay. That guy is on an 18-hour fucking grind. It's like, talk about working 4 hours a week. You do more than 4 hours a day in just podcasts, you know, but people love this idea of escapism. Like you should be flexing that you're in Mexico right now. Like, and all this right here is like this rooftop pole in one of the best building. All this is only costing me $800 a month. No way! Like,
I will
Oh,
say this. I have, well, I didn't do this and don't know if I have the personality for it, but I'm probably giving Wi-Fi Tribe and they should pay me at this point, saying their name all the time. But that's the perfect way to, if you really want to get these videos and flex, because every weekend, every night we went somewhere around the city and go clubbing, the weekend we went to a different part of the country and flew over there and seen like the best places around like the country. And you can do that as your branding. Because there'll always be people with you as well, who's probably around this, who wants to be independent, who probably wants to do the same thing.
Yeah, yeah.
Rich, where are you
What?
promoting this stuff? Like this content? I'm guessing Instagram. Like, is that appropriate for LinkedIn? To flex, do a video. Oh, look at my work
Oh
setup
my
today,
gosh.
everybody.
They love it on LinkedIn, man.
Yeah.
The DMs
All
that I
right.
get, dude, like er everybody that's commented on my shit has all asked me about like what's the dating. I mean, who doesn't want an Asian girlfriend? That's just a fact, you know? Like,
Look at Paula's face.
like if you take a
Like,
look
what about
at
the Latinas?
yeah, dude. I know a Chinese like I don't know if you've seen this Instagram, but I know this Chinese software engineer for like big tech. I always see him on IG. He's like 100% based in Mexico. And then he's just like the guys just promote. I think he's got the market for Asian guys that want to just go down and get a Latina girlfriend. He's like, are you? It's the funniest thing ever. Is like, so you're making $500,000 right now as a software engineer, but you still can't get a girlfriend. You want to know what the problem is, bro? You're and it's like zooms out. You're not out here living your best life. That's your problem because you could be working in the same time zone right now. Even chilling by the pool, talking about it was like, and think about all the money you'd be saving, working like on dumping your money into crypto, and they're selling this like dream, right? I mean, shit. Look at Fire Festival. Getting
I
down there wasn't
see.
easy.
I see that stuff all the time on X. Like people are hard on X, and so many of these like micro influencers like that, they're like posting up like I don't know, like in the city, like Latino America or in Europe, and they're talking about how like this is the best place ever, and all they're doing is just flexing like their dinner. Like I paid $5 for this steak, or I paid $2 for this coffee, or whatever. They're flexing like their lifestyle, and that's all they're doing. It's these guys. It's really big on X.
They do it. I mean, at the end of the day, we're all just like it was so funny that like you're selling like you're just selling a fantasy, right? Like, I remember I was watching this show about this Indian family in the UK that sold rugs. And like there's the one dude, I forgot what was the name of the show. It was a horrible show, but like I binge watch it with my ex because that's what you do when you're in a committed relationship. Just binge watch shit. But he got laid off as a software engineer, and he's basically got to go ahead and move in to his wife's house, right? With the parents, and they sell rugs, and they're like, "You think you're too good, Steve Jobs, to sell rugs with us?" And he's like, "We don't sell rugs, man. You know what we sell?" Like, what? It's like we sell dreams. And it always kind of is like, the dad that's coming home after a long, hard day of work, gave up everything to come to the UK for a better life for his family, all sitting on top of this rug together at the end of the night. And he's like, he found out how much they were making. He's like, oh shit, that's more than what I made as a software engineer. That's what we've been telling you. But like, I noticed this courses, the courses that printed out the most, I always found that it was like, I always found this to be very amazing is how much people want to buy escapism. Like 60% of Coachella was financed by Klarna or a firm. Like, and the craziest thing is like, how Uber Eats, you can go out there and now Klarna the thing, or affirm it. Like, you can go out there and put your freaking Chipotle burrito on a payment plan. Because kids still want to go out there and flex, right? Like Erewhon in LA, that overpriced freaking Whole Foods that's like $30 for a smoothie. It's like, yeah, it's like $11 for a smoothie is already outrageous in LA, but like you're really paying the extra $20 to be able to buy another 100 DMs on your freaking IG. People always want to buy escapism. So I noticed like people are bitching to me about a $7,000 product management course when like literally one of the guys that like was on the program, he spent 40 G's on an Airbnb course. And I was like, yo, you try to get me at a $1,000 discount, you have a job. Right? Like we actually gave you like, but the thing was like he was sold on this, like, I'm gonna be the Airbnb king. I'm gonna have Airbnbs all over the world, right? I'm like a freaking real estate mogul. Like, and you can go out there and like hop around. Like drop shipping, crypto, setting up your own SMMA, the AI automation agency, all that shit. You know what it always comes back down to? Club, bottles, and flexing. Because the overwhelming purchaser of these types of services is always, almost always going to be male. I think women just have a lot higher, like having dealt with people, I think women just have a much higher self-esteem. So like, like they'll like figure it out. But like, it's like, yo, you know what? Let's just fast forward all the bullshit. And then we can all go clubbing at the end of the night where you're gonna meet somebody easy. Like that's like, oh shit. All right, man, I'm sold. Where do I pay up? Send the Stripe. Send the Stripe payment over. I think that's really all there is to it. So like even with cybersecurity right now, it's like because cybersecurity in the world of cybersecurity, it's a 24/7 racket. Cybersecurity attacks don't stop after 6 p.m. In fact, that's actually when it begins. So you have a ton of these like really high paying cybersecurity roles that are in Dubai. One of the guys, he actually took a $400,000 cybersecurity role in Dubai. But he has to physically be based in Dubai, right? And with our competition, they're flexing like Dubai is like no other country that you think, because like the people have a connotation about it, like just like how people might have like a preconception about Mexico, right? And then they're like showing how awesome Dubai is, but at the end of the day, they're just going to be showing a bunch of girls at a club, and then that's what's going to get people to go out there and get clicks. Because like, hey, when I was running product gym in San Francisco pre-COVID, when we had a full-on in-person operation, the number one reason why guys wanted to become a product manager was to meet girls. And that was the number one reason, by far, bar none. Because they're like, well, if I get it, like, why do you want to work at Facebook? Well, here, just tell me right now, it'll save us a lot of time. Okay, man. So here's what I heard. I'll have like truckloads of guys coming in, right? It's like, so it's kind of difficult to meet people out here in SF, I think, compared to New York. But like I heard like Facebook and like Google, they have a culture where like if I wanted to meet Paola and I message her like, can we grab lunch? Like we can. And I was like, you're not wrong. Like it is part of their culture where it's just like, yo, if I like compared to Goldman Sachs, like if I really wanted to learn, let's just say like I was shit at Agile and I was like, hey John, can I ping you at Goldman Sachs? John would be like, go fuck yourself, man. Go down to Barnes and Noble, buy a book. And you're catching me where I'm feeling nice today. Watch these three guys on YouTube, Agile King. Agile for dummies. But like at Facebook, John would actually have to pretend to, yeah, I can't do this week, but let's put something on the calendar next Monday, and you'd actually have to show the fuck up. Okay, so yeah, it's like, yo, I just got out of my MBA program, clearly, and I need to learn Agile, man. It's like, of course, and they didn't teach you that shit in your overpriced education, right? So what quite like you'd have to like pretend to entertain me, right? So I was like, okay, so you're trying to meet more girls at like, and you think like getting meta is pretty much it. It's like, yeah, that was TikTok was the same shit. And we got a bunch of people working at TikTok, right? It's like, you're not going to get work-life balance. Like, I don't care for that. Because the dating scene out there in San Francisco is so bad. So it always comes back down to just like
Is it
um
just for men that it's bad? Because I actually met a few guys from San Francisco who just like, I want to move to LA because it's so much better there for
yeah,
them.
yeah, 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 yeah. Like, well, that was then. Now it's like I just want to just get out. Like, I just want to get to like New York or LA or Miami. But I had this one screenshot where it was just like, what you want to go ahead and do is like sell on men's lust, like women's beauty, get rich quick, No
John is
effort.
like nodding over that. I don't
Yeah,
know if he was
like
agreeing.
it's
Really?
yo, man, you know how many times,
Yeah, men are dumb and
yeah,
horny. So
you,
that's
I
the
wasn't
truth.
insecure, so I'm
no, but
surprised
like
that this is like
you know, like I was a film minor. You know how many times that story of like 50 Shades of Grey has been replicated. It's a formula that works. You know, like the ultra rich guy that's got some kind of dark secret, but he's also jacked up. Like, if the dude that played the main character of 50 Shades of Grey was like Forrest Whitaker or John Goodman, it'd be a completely different movie, right? But like Twilight, that's a guaranteed hit. Hunger Games, guaranteed hit. You know, that other
Or
one.
two, bro. Selling the fantasy of, I don't know, going to like Thailand and learning the language and integrating and getting a beautiful wife, like out on the countryside and having a beautiful family. It's like that's what they're selling. And same with Latino America. It's all the same crap. There's no
I
difference.
mean, yeah, they White Lotus is just a highly evolved version of Dawson's Creek, right? This is pretty. That's Phil Minor talking to you guys, right? I was like, pretty rich white kids with problems. This is what happened to Dawson 25 years later. He got the investment banking job. And he's still miserable. He got the girl and he's still miserable with his life, right? But yeah, like have you guys seen that new show on Apple, Your Friends and Neighbors with John Hamm, where it's just basically he lost his like his hedge fund went to shit and he's in like the Hamptons, the bougie part of like the New York suburbs, and he's now just robbing his neighbors. And they're talking Scott about scotch and whiskey, and he was like, it just hit me right now where he's like having like one of those conversations in his head. He's like, middle-aged white men bragging about scotch, homes, golf clubs, vacations they don't care to go to, the sum up of our lives. He was like, buying things we don't need or want just to impress people we don't like or care about, just so we don't have to be alone. Yeah, that is a genre that works. Like you just had its final season, right? We just want to see a violent side of pretty, of attractive looking rich white people. It is a formula that's guaranteed to print cash. So yeah, fractional product management. Let me sum up what the F stands for, fantasy. I gotta go. But go back to selling
very
dreams, kids. The big
Fantasy project management.
you don't have to be that good at your job because like clearly there's people that they've hired that's making more money than you guys are getting paid. And I'm more than happy next week to go out there and role play like scenarios of like what I've seen work. Because there were people that were getting paid even more than me. I was probably always at least the top three biggest earners for a fractional role. And I saw what they were doing, and I was like, he's like, I have a feeling you don't like her very much. I was like, no, I have more respect for her than she'll ever really appreciate. But we need to get this shit done. I'm not gonna do it. Yeah. So John, I've added you to the recurring, so I'll see you next week. But yeah, like talk to you guys later.
thanks. That
Thank
was
you.
fun.
Awesome.
Talk to
Bye.
you later.
Fun. Thanks, guys.
Bye.